What's up everyone, welcome to another Geeorj gear demo. In this video I will show you how I achieved my guitar tone for my two EPs, Corrupt Volume 1 and Corrupt Volume 2. If you would like to check out the music, there's a shameless plug in the bottom right corner of the screen there. This tone is completely software based and uses Peavey Revalver MKIII and Poulin LeCab2 with user created impulses. Links for all of these are in the description. The LeCab2 is free, but I will not provide a torrent or free download for Revalver. If you don't already have it, then pay for it, you unscrupulous bastards! Things to consider before attempting to match tones. Guitar. The guitar I'm using is an Ibanez RGA 3.2 with stock humbuckers. Some of you watching will probably have a better guitar and some of you might not. So whilst finding your tone, don't forget to tweak your pickup height and string action, etc. to complement your playing style. It makes more of a difference than you might think. Effects chains. This tone is a gated, compressed raw tone with no reverb, delay or any other guitar modulating effects. If you use a pedal board, consider that using it before it goes into the interface might make the outcome slightly different. DAW. This is a demo using Cubase 5, and some of the digital effects chain frequently uses the program's built-in compressors, envelope shapers, EQs and gates. If you're using a different DAW, then the effects on there may or may not have a slight difference, even if you match the settings. Okay, all that boring bollocks out the way, let's get started! First of all, before even going into the interface I use, my guitar goes through a single original Ibanez tube screamer as a TS-808, with the overdrive at 0, level at 10, and tone at 5. If you have a different overdrive pedal, like you can get like the Mark II tube screamer or like a Max and OD 808 or something like that, then these sort of settings in general are great for a tight, crunchy tone. Okay, onto the Cubase FX chain. The first thing I use is a standard compressor with these settings. Threshold on -14.6. Ratio 2.36 with soft knee. Attack 15.7 milliseconds. Hold at 1. Release at 295. Full analysis. And makeup gain at 12.6 to bump up the volume. Or preset picking guitar 1 if you use Cubase or any other Steinberg program that might have that preset. Doing this, using this compressor, tightens up the attack of the guitar playing so that the tone isn't too like muddy or woofy. Next is Revalver. I would make a preset for these settings, but if you follow this explanation, it won't take too long to make it yourself. First of all, make sure you have the input signal as high as it can go. On whatever interface you're using to connect your guitar to your computer, make sure that the input is high but not peaking. Pressing the Learn button here will correct anything else and make the input as high as possible. First module on Revalver is the ACS CS1 guitar compressor just to boost and control the signal. The compression amount is 3.62, the threshold is -30.05 decibels, the speed is 10.19 milliseconds, and the volume correction is 4.58 decibels. The next module is the greener overdrive, to provide the smoother distortion that I found the 6505 head can't do alone. It gets a bit too buzzy. So anyway, the drive on the greener is at 3.19, the tone is at 6.15, and the volume is 4.5 decibels. Switch the Germanium option off, make sure you're not using that, and that's the greener. Then we have the 6505 head. Make sure that's the regular 6505 and not the 6505 Plus. And remember that when you open it, you will need to remove the rare cab that opens with it. Set the mode to rhythm, turn on the bright switch, and make sure it's on normal gain input. Set rhythm gain to 4.67, bass to 4.71, mid to 0.76, high to 6.35, post gain to 10, resonance to 10, presence to 6.98, and output to 7.01 decibels. If you go on the tweak settings, make sure the tone stack is the JSX Crunch option, and make sure the output stage tube is the 6L6GC/5881 pentode option. Every other triode tube will be the 12AX7/ECC83 triode. Keep in mind that once you're done here, we still don't have any cab simulation yet, so the sound will be very thin, tinny and shit. Next we have the Poulin LeCab2, where I blend 4 different impulses, all available for free download in the description. And the first is the Trivium Shattering the Skies Above IR, found in the Tone Vamp IR E1.00 folder. Just set the volume there to 0.355. Next impulse is the Body Count B IR, found in the Tone Vamp IRE 2.00 folder. Set the high pass to 1000 Hz all the way up, volume set to 0.530. Next impulse is the One On Presence 5.wav, found in the Catharsis Awesome Time Fredman folder. Low pass set to 4.4 Hz, volume set to 3.25. This particular impulse provides great lows that the rest of the impulses don't really have, so it is there for that sort of beefiness, but we don't want any of like the high-end distortion as the other like cab modules are providing that. The final one is going to be the Petrucci Constant Motion IR, found in the Clark Kent Match EQ IR collection folder. Set the high pass to 1000 Hz and the volume to just 0.020, just to get a little bit of buzz and a little bit of like treble boost. Overall volume at the top of the program needs to be set to something like 0.150. Of course, this all just acts as a template, so tweak with it if it isn't the perfect sound for you. Although I found that some slight adjustments to the distortion EQ on Revalver can create a completely different distortion sound that is slightly less pleasant. But yeah, it's all about the tweaking. Now we open a linear EQ to cover the frequencies we couldn't cover with the 4-band main channel equalizer. Band 1 is a low shelf at -16.9 decibels, set to 47 Hz, with 3.4 frequency width for a subtle high pass effect. Band 2 boosts the gent frequency at 1300 Hz, gain set to 2.6 decibels with a frequency width or Q factor of 2.5. Next band is to get rid of any general woolliness at 400 Hz, because that's generally like a problem area for like any music in general, really. Target that one with the gain set to -2.3 decibels with a frequency curve of 1.0. The last band acts as a subtle low pass with the mode set to shelf 1, gain at -24 decibels, frequency 20k, and Q factor of 1.0. So the rest of the tone is basically toying around with the Cubase effects, but if you wanted to imitate this on any other DAW, then I'll show you the settings for these too. So the next thing I used for the Corrupt Volume 1 tone was an envelope shaper, where the attack is at a 0.8 and the length is at 57.8. I use this for that subtle extra attack on the tone for like the chugging. Next is another compressor that I use as a signal booster of sorts, mainly to raise the volume. You can raise the overall output level on Poulin, but I find that using this made the tone slightly fatter sounding on top of that, which I really loved. So for this, I basically had the compression levels set to nothing. The threshold at 0, the ratio at 1, slow attack at 15.6, no hold, release on auto, no analysis, and crank up the volume on it. Final effect in the chain is just a bog standard gate effect, which I didn't really toy around with much. I just set the threshold volume to somewhere around -32 decibels to get rid of any unwanted amp noise. This may need to be experimented with, or if you have like any presets on whatever program you're using, it'd probably be best to use them. And finally, the EQ settings for the channel in general are as follows. All bands are set to parametric peaks, so no like shelves or high passes or anything. Band 1 is at 391 Hz with a reduced gain at -3.3 decibels and a frequency width of 2.2. This is only if you need to lose a little more of that muddy woolly sound. Like, I know I've got one at 400 Hz on the other EQ, but this covers a little bit more of the spectrum in general, and I found that using it just made the tone slightly less. Band 2 is at 700 Hz. With a gain reduction of -3 decibels and a frequency width of 2.9. This eliminates what some people like to call the cardboard effect. I guess if you boosted that frequency, you'd be able to hear exactly what I'm talking about. The third band is set at 2730 Hz with -2.5 gain reduction and a 2.3 frequency width. This one was added because the distortion curve of this tone had a slightly scratchy effect that I didn't like. So using that third band just kind of smoothened out the distortion a little bit more. The fourth band is at 7 kHz with a 1.1 decibel gain boost and a frequency width of 1. This adds a nice sharpened treble boost on top of the stuff you've got already. And that's about it. The rest of the guitar tone on the first EP was down to the mastering of the stem WAV tracks. So it was just some extra post EQ on top of what we've got here. Thank you for watching the whole of this video. Hopefully you've taken something away from this, whether you're trying to completely match the tone or just use some of it as a template for creating your own tone. As long as you can take something away from it, then I've done my job here. I just thought I'd throw this up for you guys, as I haven't uploaded much recently due to pretty heavy work and personal life at the moment, as well as saving my voice for the Volume 2 vocal tracks, hence no covers. But all that stuff will be coming back in the future. Hit me up on the Facebook page if you want to get some regular updates. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be soon. Bye!